Hello, hello. Okay, guys. So I don't typically give away my strategies, but they're not that awesome. So let me tell you something. The things that I do work because of little things and certain things that people don't do. You know, it's kind of like with that business saying, how does it go? Smart people do the thing, or what smart people do, or the things that other people don't do, or some crap like that. You know, there's all those books out there, right? Well, the things that I do that make me successful are super, super little things that most people don't do. And I think too, not trying to mold with other advocates. You know, I feel that each one is an individual and we need to do our own thing and be our own person and be our own advocate and grow along with everybody else. And really hone in on what's working and what's not. And the things that are not, we improve on like everybody else. You know, if you have a job, you didn't do something right, you do it right the next time, right? And so that's with everybody. So I want to give you some tips, give you some ideas of things that are going to be discussed in length in my new membership that's coming out very, very, very soon, where I will be educating individuals on becoming advocates. And it's not just going to be moms and dads. It's going to be for teachers and service providers and anybody who wants to learn how to advocate for a child, and not just here's the law, blah, and throw up all over you, you know, in reference to the law. So, you know, because I can get you the book. Okay. I can get you the book. And I can get you, you know, this huge book. Yeah, the law book. Okay. But who wants to just learn law? You can't go into an IEP and be like, according to Title 34, 300.1, blah, 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 says that you have to do this for my child. You know, you can't do that. So I want to teach people how to walk into that IEP meeting or turn on your computer, which is what I suggest, and kick some ass. And I'm not going to say, oh, let me help you. And I laugh about this because I'm not that person. So if that's not the type of advocate that you want, yeah, I'm very successful in what I do. Hugely successful in what I do. And that makes me happy. And I like to brag about that because guess what? That means all these kids are winning, right? And so that's what's important to me is I'm not winning, they're winning. And so I think that's totally fab, right? So on a serious note, what's important is doing you, okay? And just being a better version of you and wanting to learn more and go screw up and learn more and go screw up again and learn more. And, you know, I just kept screwing up and screwing up and screwing up, and I figured out, okay, I need to learn something here because I was continuing to fail my child. So today we're going to talk about the certain, you know, a couple strategies. I'm not going to keep you on here for an hour, but I want to talk about some strategies that I do that may be a shocker. Okay, so make sure you share this. I'm going to deliver some information that you're going to be like, what? You do that? No, I couldn't ever do that. I couldn't ever do that. That's not me. No, not me. Can't do that. Okay. So I'm going to post real quick in the, hey, Christina, how are you? Yes, I'm really excited about the membership, super excited about it. And I'm excited because it's gonna, you've probably taken my course, maybe. I mean, you've taken a couple of my things, but it's one of those things that's it's a whole different ball game. My course, I love it. It's amazing. I just got a message today on my email saying, oh my God, my husband and I have learned so much on your course. And she was like, where's the PDFs? Oh my God, where's the PDFs? And the PDFs are actually being redone. So you guys are getting all brand new stuff. So that's what's up with that. So she's like, where's the PDF? Oh my God, and the PDFs are like slim to none right now. The course is there. The huge 100 and something page workbook is there, but the PDFs are like, coming and going because I'm redoing them all. Cause I promised that, when things change, I'm changing all my PDFs. You guys are getting the updated information. So bottom line, I want you guys to learn. All right. And so many people are failing over and over. I had a lady find me on a COPA and she said, oh my God, I need your help. Please, can you help me? And I'm like, I got to call you back. I'm so sorry. I have 2 meetings back to back today. This week has been what I call hell week. And I've had back to back meetings. I mean, wait till I tell you what this attorney did in an IEP meeting. It's going to make you fall flat on the floor. And I mean, I was like, did that just freaking happen? I had to go back, watch my recording because I did not expect that, number one. And number two, I couldn't believe it happened. So I had to rewind the recording to watch it again because I needed to watch that again. All right. So there is Raven, and then there is taking it to a whole hell of a new level. And that's what this attorney did. And wow. Okay. So post a 1 below if it's your first or third time catching me live. And if you're catching the replay, do it. Post a 1 below and say, hey, I'm new. I have a 5-year-old. I have a 6-year-old with autism, etc. Tell us who you are. Okay. We want to know. If you haven't joined the group, Autism Mom Rocks IEP group, make sure to do that. And, join in, communicate with other parents and get to know each other, give each other advice. It's a great group. And if you're on the group right now, let me give you the link really quick because it makes you click this link so that I can see your circled picture on Facebook. If not, then I have no idea who's talking to me. So let me grab that real quick for you guys if you are on the group. Okay. So we're going to get started in just a second on some tips. Okay. And I get this a lot. And even when some of my parents pass my name out, sorry, I'm looking for this, guys. I tell them, make sure you tell them how I am. Okay. And it's funny. One of my parents, she said, I don't know why I can't find it. Hang on. Password, membership. Okay. Okay, so she says, I'm still trying to find it, y'all. Hang on. I have WhatsApp. I'm gonna find it, y'all. I'm gonna find it, okay? But you know what? It's at the bottom. Can you see it? Let me see. Okay, StreamYard.com/Facebook. Okay. So let me just put that in the comments. So there you go. All right. So if you're on the group, click that. And that will take you where you have to say yes. She can see my picture. It's the circle picture that's on your Facebook. But because this is a streaming service, you have to click that. Okay. All right. So here's the deal. Strategies. Before the IEP meeting. All right. So for example, I have a meeting tomorrow. It's actually an informal meeting. I have a kindergartner who got suspended for the first time, but I think he got suspended because they knew that I was on their tail, and they're scrambling to do what they need to do. Okay. And this is in New Jersey. All right. And he was suspended due to an impact of his disability. All right. So on a case-by-case basis, personnel can and staff members can suspend a child with a disability. They can be suspended, but if it's over 10 days, it's a whole different ballgame. All right. And so they're subject to the same sort of disciplinary actions, but there's other things that are in play. Okay. But the key thing to keep in mind is if the behavior was an impact of their disability, then, and what they call it, because there's things called a manifestation meeting if it's over 10 days. And so it's really, is it a manifestation of the disability? So instead of saying impact of disability, you'll say a manifestation of the disability. But bottom line, it is, and they're making things up. And I'm looking here at the document of why he was suspended. And it has nothing to do with what they actually told me yesterday on the phone. So I find that quite interesting. Same happened to my son, got him on a technicality. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I found it interesting when I called yesterday. The superintendent, the attorney, the assistant superintendent, the principal, I'm like, how are they all in the same place? Like maybe New Jersey's different, because I called the phone number of the school, so I thought, and it was administration, and all these people, because they actually told me, they said, hey, we're all in here. It was weird, really weird. I've never called a school and all those people be in the room because I got on the phone. I mean, I didn't know I was that important, but you know. Okay, strategies. Before the meeting, study your stuff. Let me take my camera off. Hold on. Is it the background or something? Yeah. Okay. So do you guys see behind me? Let me see. Move myself back. Ugh. Okay, do you see all those papers behind me? You see them? All right, those are all goals and present levels. Okay. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 7 were sent to me within a 60-day period of having IEP meetings, because my meetings I do in order. I don't just, oh, they're scheduling a meeting in 2 weeks, I got to go. No, you reschedule and you create a plan of action. All right. Your first meeting is, you know, talking about evaluations, because I send a big email in the first beginning. And you're talking about evaluations, because if you haven't had evaluation in a year, then you need to have evaluations, full formal evaluations. Then you need to talk about any concerns and things that are, you know, upsetting, or things that are not working, and those types of things. And the next meeting is going over the evaluations. Okay. And then the meeting after that is where you're starting to create the IEP. I have found that in order to create a solid IEP, you have got to do it in that order, because you have to have the formal evaluation. Now, obviously, if you've had formal evaluations within the last year, you don't necessarily have to do that first one, but you have to do the second one if you haven't done the second one, and review it. And if you don't know how to review it properly, then you're really going to be stuck. Okay. And Then the third, fourth, and sometimes fifth, and sometimes sixth is creating the IEP. Now, why do I take such a long time to create the IEP? Well, because they can be complete assholes. They don't do the things you want them to do how you want them to do it, and they don't do things, in this flow that you want to happen. All right? They don't do things, where it makes it easy. You have these evaluations that are done, but then the school doesn't want to put anything that's in the evaluations in the present levels. And then the things that they do, they use verbiage that isn't exact to the evaluations. Okay. And so I'm like, no. We're going to copy and paste that part. We're going to take out may. We're going to this, and we're going to put all these things in there to create the need. Okay. And the needs are the things that we make the goals from. And if those things aren't in the present levels, then we have no IEP. Okay. So the IEP has to be based on those present levels. And if those aren't correct, which is why I can take 2 or 3 meetings, and I'm talking about 3-hour meetings. Okay. So people, you have to understand, you cannot just go into a 1, 2, or 3-hour meeting one time and put an IEP together. That's probably why IEPs suck. And every IEP that I have seen in the last 3 years, and, I had 293 IEP meetings between August 2020 and August 2021. God knows how many I've had since then. This, like I said, this is a week from hell. I've had so many IEPs that my brain is spinning. But you have to do it like that, or your IEP is going to suck. All right. You can't get mad that it's taking time. I've had IEPs put together in 3 months, and I've had IEPs put together in 10 months. So it's one of those things where you have to have the mindset that I'm ready to get my child's IEP together, period. Okay. So if it takes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, honestly, that's better than a lifetime of IEP problems. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to have problems. It just means that once you get that IEP on point, things are more smooth sailing, if you will. They're not as difficult. If you've had an advocate come in and kick some ass, or teach you how to kick some ass, that is what is needed to get IEPs together. All right. So let me give you an example. All right. So I have a attorney. I actually respect her. She's all right. She's in Texas, and she's, all right. She's okay. She does her job. You can't disrespect somebody for doing their job, right? But boy, is she a bitch. And she will say so. She said, I know I'm a bitch. I don't put up with it. I'm like, me too. So we get along great. Not. Okay, so in the IEP meeting yesterday, Mom and I didn't agree. Okay, we got to a certain point. We put the present levels together in the first meeting. It was a beautiful meeting. And this happens all the time, and I'm ready to pull my hair out about it. Then the second meeting, in the first meeting, they said, we're going to send you the present levels with all the changes that they made in front of us on the screen. They didn't do it. So the second meeting, we are in disagreement on a lot of things. And, we're talking placement. We're talking about several different things that we were in disagreement on. And this is a student that is physical. Okay. And, Mom and I, in the very first meeting, the last meeting was the second meeting, and this was the third. And we were both in tears, learning some of the things that the child, had done to the teacher. The teacher had some bruises on her, and nobody expected to see that. So it was, and then obviously nobody should ever be subject to that, but at the same time, when you're working with special needs children, those things do happen. And, as unfortunate and horrible they are, and Mom and I, we were shocked. I started crying because I wasn't expecting to see that. And nobody wants to see that on, bruises on teachers on their arms. And mom was, hurt and upset because, she couldn't believe it either because he's not like that at home. And, it was a sad situation, but, we got together and we were figuring out how to make a change and to help him and so on and so forth. And so the second meeting, we had a beautiful meeting and putting together the present levels and things that we were going to do and discussing it, etc. And then yesterday was a third meeting where we're putting the IEP even more together. We're getting to, the goals, and we got most of the goals done, but then we got to services and we got to placement. There's, some things that we were hitting a brick on. And here's strategy number 1. Okay. And I'm going to backtrack before I give you number 2. Number 1 is when you see all these present levels and goals sitting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they're all different, all within 60 days. Is there something wrong with that picture? Always. Here's your tip number 1. Before the meeting, every document in regards to the IEP meeting, okay, not just that one, but the one that you're putting together, okay, it should, things take time. You don't want to rush an IEP. You want a good, solid IEP. All right. So you put them all together like that. And I flip that page, that page, that page, that page, that page, and that page, literally. All right. I flip this one and I flip this one. And I flip them all down the line and I compare them side by side. Okay, are these two the same? Are these two the same? Are these two the same? Okay, are any of them the same? And sometimes I'll do 3 and 3 depending on how many. And I compare them, literally. Okay, and I figure out what's been cut and pasted. All right, and I start aligning them and I call them out on it. Why the hell is the one on 223 different from the one on 228? Did something happen that we don't know about, that you changed the present levels in that many days? And that's what's happening. Not one of these present levels and goals that I have laid out here. All right, not one. Okay, and I have 6 laid out. Not one is the same. Not one. And goals are tweaked and copied and pasted. And I've noticed that this district specifically is because I have 2 families in this district, both with 2 kids. All right. And it's happened to both of them where they're overwhelming the parent with all of these documents if I didn't know what I did, I'd be like, holy shit, like, why are you sending me all that? We just had a meeting. Why do you need to send me another IEP and goals? Did you change something that I don't know about? Why? Why do I have 6 a week apart? So it's like, well, really, it's 3 a week apart. But, it's like, why are you confusing parents like that? It's confusing. And you, like myself, probably don't think, oh, I got to go look at these and compare them side by side. Okay. So tip number 1, please compare your IEPs side by side, and then compare your last year's and this year's IEP side by side. Never agree to an IEP until it's 100% where you want it. Keep asking for an IEP meeting. Keep asking for an IEP meeting. I used to go into my meetings, I'd leave, get to my car, and email on my phone, Raven Woods, am requesting another IEP meeting within the next 30 days. Because by law, they have to meet with you within 30 days. You can ask for as many meetings as you want. And I met with them and met with them and met with them and met with them and met with them. And I did what I needed to do. And I know that that sounds tedious and crazy and whatever, but that's what you have to do. So tip number 2, the more persistent you are And the more you push through the stress and I had to like clear my head and realize that I just had to keep going and keep going as I was ready to pull my hair out. And, I would get so hyper focused. If they emailed me, I'd be like, shh, and I think that's how I got so good at emails now, because I screwed up so many times and I wrote emails off of emotion, and, I was horrible. So now when I write emails, oh my God, I get the best responses. I don't know if you guys remember, but that meeting where I said that it was like 2 hours with the occupational therapist. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. Okay, I read the letter, all right, the email that I sent to the school. I spent 2 hours wasting my time teaching your freaking occupational therapist, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then I stated all the violations. I emailed, because the child's in private school, and I emailed the district as well. So they stepped in, and she responded nicely, and I was able to, on the live, tell you the response. And then how the director of the private school emailed me and tried to say that me going live and teaching you guys was a HIPAA and FERPA violation, when no names or anything was brought up. She didn't know what that meant. And so I had to school her on FERPA and HIPAA. And so today, all of a sudden, everybody was just beautiful. Everything just went wonderful. It was awesome. No problems. None. But I'm glad it was. Okay. I was very clear that I don't hold grudges. Let's start over. Let's get this done. This is about the child. Let's get this done. Okay. The only person who wins, no matter how much of a great big B I can be or whatever, the only person who wins in this situation in the IEP world is the child. Okay. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about them. Okay. It's about the child. And so, and having a win attitude anyway, I'm going to win, unless you're like playing sports or something like that, it's not a good attitude to have anyway. So if you're thinking about winning, it's winning for your child. That's it. Okay. And so when I talk about being an advocate, all right, and how many people are very, very, very different, I believe, actually, I know for a fact, because parents tell me all the time, is many times the reason they're hiring me is because, one, they don't have the personality that I have that is just cutthroat. And they don't know how, or they do have that type of personality and they just don't know how to go about implementing what needs to be done, and knows all the legalities when it comes to idea and things like that. Or I have parents that just don't know at all, which is where I was, and are just learning, like we don't just, come out and say, oh, I'm an expert in the IEP world. It doesn't work like that, right? Just like as moms, we learn as we go, right? Or dads. But it's difficult. And I'm pretty cutthroat. The reason I'm like that, I'm fair. I'm very fair. Okay. And I care about teachers. And I care about service providers. But undermine the child and the need, or put down the need of the child because of convenience, or speak and be a puppet of the district, or all of those types of things. I'm going with it. I have no tolerance for it. So that respect just went right on out the window. So the administration, no, they're whatever. But teachers, service, I have the ultimate respect until I find out that they're puppets or are undermining what the child needs, or making what. Here's an example. I have a evaluation. The evaluation shows the child needs receptive, expressive, and pragmatics, and has difficulty in most of them. Receptive was the biggest, but all the others were a big one too. Then at the end, her recommendation was one time a week, 30 minutes pushing in the classroom. That shit pisses me off. Just that's it. You lost all my respect right there. Okay. And I don't sugarcoat that. I don't say, what happened? You did this amazing evaluation and then you just totally screwed the child. No, I just jump to it. Okay. And I just say it how it is. Okay. So you did an amazing and great evaluation with fidelity and then totally screwed the child in your recommendations. Why? Because you and I both know that in accordance to your evaluation, that child should not have push-in services for 30 minutes. That child should have 3 times a week at 30 minutes, at minimum 2 times a week individual, and 1 time a week if you want to do push-in. But I want to know what that push-in looks like, so you need to paint that picture for me. Okay. Another thing is you have to, and I teach this in my course, ask questions, not make statements. Never make a statement in an IEP meeting. My child, blah. Anybody? Nope. Okay. Let's move on. No. Okay. So I used to, in my meeting, and I've started really making sure this happens in other meetings, is I do service providers first because I want to get them done and get them out. All right. Because service providers are really busy. They're slim to none. And I want to get their stuff done and then excuse them, because they don't have to sit through that whole meeting, and that's not fair, So I like to get them in and get them out. And so you go through the first person, let's say speech, like we were just talking about, and you go through their evaluation. Okay. You're past that point now. Say you're in another meeting and you're going through, what that child needs. You have their recommendations, obviously. You talk about in the next meeting, what your recommendations are and what your thoughts are, and you need to support that. So for me, when I come in, I support that by saying, according to your evaluation, all right, we're going to put all these things into the present levels. Okay. And then once we take care of the present levels, then it's, okay, let's talk about the goals. And those goals are referring to those present levels, which many times I have to say, a lot of them don't align. The ones they created don't align with the evaluation that says the child has XYZ difficulty in whatever it is, receptive, expressive, pragmatics, etc. And so I have to kind of realign that. And then, we have to focus on how many times a week does that child need in order to make sufficient progress and be challenged in speech therapy in order to then be able to grow and independently do whatever it is that they need to be doing. It could be WH questions. It could be to talk, period. It could be to improve their receptive language of what they're hearing. All of these different things. Okay. It could be to express and get better at their expressive language, to be able to voice how it is, to talk about feelings and to talk about when they're mad and to talk about when they're sad. And so when that is going on is when I will typically get into it with them. I have found that my argument of how push-in and group has no research and science behind them. Typically, children do not make progress. And if you look at all the data, you could more than likely prove that if your child has that they're not making progress. Don't look at a progress report that says, oh, sufficient, more sufficient, mastered, not mastered. That doesn't tell you anything. You need to have them evaluated or get an IEE in order to really gauge where they are. And then be able to see, okay, is this aligning? All right. And then you put it together. And we will get into an argument about push in and group. And there was a IEP a couple weeks ago that I had, and I'm thinking about asking this mother if she'd be willing to come live with me and tell even more of this story so that you could hear her feelings, what she thought, the things I had already told her. And I'm finding that really interesting, where a lot of my parents are like, "Oh, Raven, be nice, just be nice. I don't want her mad at me. I don't want to get on her bad side. We want her on our side. Just be nice." And what you said, they love me, they want me as their advocate, but be nice. Come on, just be nice. All right. So I'm nice for that moment and do what they tell me to do. And I tell them, okay, this is stupid. Okay, this is not going to work. You're not going to get what you want, but okay. And so I do it, and didn't work, and wasn't okay. So I said, can I do it my way now? And this has happened so much recently. I'm laughing about it because it's kind of funny, because it's so true. It even happened today. Well, the mom sent the email last night. And it was a long email. We attached the recording to it, sent it to the superintendent, the director, everybody. And she and I, we were together, and we were, we wrote everything up. I wrote most of it, and then we got together and, we edited it and all that. And she had amazing input. And my sarcasm, I can't help myself. Okay, I can't. All right, that part I cannot help. I have to throw my sarcasm into it, because like my TikTok says today, I don't do stupid. I can't do stupid. I don't know how to talk stupid. And I don't know how educators sometimes can say some of the things that they say. And so, or even administrators. And, I don't care that you have some PhD and whatever. Who cares if I have master's degrees? Who cares if you have no degree at all? I don't care. And they try to boast their stuff. I don't care. I had a BCBA in an IEP meeting yesterday, and he has his doctorate and all this crap. And guess what? How is it you don't know what an antecedent is? What? Again, I'm teaching the staff what an antecedent is for an hour and a half. And it made me insane. But let me tell you something. The more you have them talk in the IEP, here's tip number 2. In the IEP meeting, have them talk. Keep them talking. Keep them talking some more. Ask questions. Ask questions off their statements. Every single one of their statements. Ask another question. How is my child doing? Oh, they're doing good. Look at all the work. They're working on this. And they're working on, oh, look at this. Oh. The first thing when they start showing papers, I don't say, oh, look at that. No. Do I have a copy of that? Did you send me a copy of that? Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. So let's take a 5-minute break so that you can send me a copy of that so that I can see it while you're talking about it. Yeah. No, you're not going to send it to me afterward. No, I need to see it now. I'm visual, so I need to see the paper. I need you to send it to me now, because technically you were supposed to send it to me 3 days ago. Just so you guys know, it's 2, 3, and 5 different states. 5 days is like California and some other states. Some states are 3, some are 2. Okay, my state's actually 2. It sucks. They have to send you the documentation in regards to that IEP meeting and anything that they're going to talk about in that IEP meeting 2 days, 3 days, or 5 days in advance, whatever your state is. Okay, find out what that is. 10 days is in most states what's called the reasonable time frame. So just know those types of things. All right. And so they're like, oh, well, we could just send it, afterward. This isn't really that important. We're just, it's just a benchmark or whatever. It's how we, just did some measuring of how he was. Oh, you did a benchmark of measuring how he was. Benchmarks suck, y'all. We'll do a whole different live on that one. But why wouldn't you send that to me before the IEP meeting? Well, I just did it yesterday. This is the shit I've heard. Okay, well, yesterday you had a computer in front of you, right? Because you did it on the computer, right? Yeah, he did it on the computer. But you can email it to me, right? Okay, so that's the shit I deal with. All right, so instead of, oh, yay, you're going over work. No, I caught that first thing. What was that first thing? They didn't send me documentation that they're going over. Nope, I got red flags going off all over the place. Okay, so that's red flag number 1. So now I'm really alert and I'm listening. All right, she's talking. Oh, and that the evaluations weren't that great. So now we're, talking about it and, we're in the next meeting and how they're, all of a sudden, if I come into play or if parents start advocating, all of a sudden they're doing all these damn benchmarks. They're just scrambling, doing all these benchmarks to have data for you. Why? But if you're doing the right thing, why are you scrambling? You shouldn't be scrambling. Or sitting that kid in front of a benchmark 3, 4, or 5 times so that they get a good grade. So that you can give it to the parent. So I call them out on that too. I know I'm evil. And so you have to call them out you can't ignore them. You can't be so emotional, and this is hard. You can't be so emotional that you forget about these little things that become big, big, big problems. And if you didn't catch that they were going over documentation that you didn't even have in front of you, how are you going to follow them? Do you even know what that document looks like? No. So you're just going off their word of whatever the heck they're saying. I caught the other day, I'm going to give you another example. I actually talked today to a doctor, which again, who cares what her title is, in Texas, who actually has participated in writing some assessments. And I agreed after the IEP that I was telling you about that the attorney lost her mind. And I'll tell you that in a minute. Actually, I'm going to tell you about it now because it's crazy. It's freaking crazy. All right. And when I say crazy, it's crazy. Okay. Mom wrote a letter about this because it's that freaking crazy. All right. So we didn't agree. We kept saying, okay, we disagree. So you have to come back within 10 days in Texas. And I kept on about the antecedent. All right. Because their form for a BAP was jacked the heck up. All right. And it pisses me off. My expertise is in behavior and reading. And so, I know about everything else, but those you better have on point big time. Okay. And this guy, psychologist with who God knows what degrees, comes in and is in more of a rush to get the hell out of there than the child. And then they kept telling me, here's another red flag. Oh, well, that's the form we use. I don't care. Make a new one. This does not align. Okay? A BAP has, when you do an FBA, there's an antecedent, there's a behavior, and there's a consequence. Okay? You have to know what that antecedent is. Did I say that right? Antecedent. You have to know what that is. That's what, when, and where. What's going on? What time is it happening? And where. Okay? Environment. Is it in electives? Is it in PE? Is it in the classroom? Is it before reading? Is it to do a task? When is it happening? Okay? What is going on? What is going around them that is triggering this child? Figure out the damn puzzle. And so he was, well, it could be, antecedent strategies and, because that's what it said. I said, no. Okay. Antecedents are what happens before the behavior, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G. Okay, so A is the antecedent. Sure, you can have antecedent, strategies. Those are strategies that you put together that will affect the antecedent and prevent that from occurring, so the behavior doesn't occur, and then you don't have a problem. Yes, but they're two separate things. Okay, they're two separate things. And well, no, we can combine them. We can combine them. We can look at things a little bit differently, and we can really focus on certain things. And sometimes things aren't just black and white. No shit, Sherlock. I already know that. Tell me something I don't know. And then he goes on to say, well, this is how our forms in our district are. And I said, well, people make changes all the time, especially when they don't work. Smart people make changes. If something's not working, smart people make a change. Right? And so later, Mom said later, he was like, doing that whole thing on the video, but I'll tell you about that later. But, so long story short, I was getting down on him on that. We ended up coming to, he kept saying, you were super intelligent in this, you know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. But I felt like he was stuck because the attorney was there and he didn't know how to say, okay, you're right, the freaking form does need to be changed. And so we got into some of the strategies. So I'm going to go over this with you. Strategies. All right, so here's some of the strategies. All right, so when you're going over the antecedent and ABCs don't change. They just don't change. Okay, so I don't give a shit what anybody says. They do not freaking change. I can guarantee you they do not change. The antecedent is the antecedent that happens before the behavior happens, and you get the behavior, then you get the consequence. But guess what? There's another thing out there that is more important than the behavior and the consequence. And that is the replacement behavior. What are you going to teach the child in order for them to learn how to replace that negative behavior with something positive? Okay. And I know my behavior with my eyes closed. So you want to talk behavior with me, you better bring it. Bring it. All right. And so don't you dare try to tell me that an antecedent is something different than what it actually is. Okay. Because if you can't figure that part out, the behavior is just going to sit there and they're going to manifest and they're going to keep getting worse. And you're not going to know what the hell's going on because you can't figure out the puzzle. Change careers or something because it's not working. So you got to know your stuff. You got to know your stuff when you're talking about a child's education. Damn it. If that's the last thing I got to say, I'm sorry if I offend people. I don't care though, because I've seen so much out there that I'm over it. Who's suffering? The kids. There's so many kids that are suffering because of the lack of give a shit and the lack of knowledge in certain areas. It doesn't make people stupid, but it makes people stupid when they don't do something different when something's not working. That's stupid. What's not stupid is not knowing. What's stupid is not learning it. Get the difference? So you're not stupid because you don't know. None of us know everything. Teachers don't learn in school how to, teach reading explicitly and systematically and the science of reading and all these. They don't learn that. That's not taught in school. So it's an on-the-job thing. Okay. And it's one of those things where you have got to learn it because so many kids are not able to read, and minorities are suffering the most. And that is not okay. And there's this fine line of discrimination there. And everybody else is not that far above. So we are failing our kids because the districts are not educating their staff with ongoing training that is worth a shit, and don't want to pay for training that is worth a shit. So everybody's suffering and everybody's failing, which is one of the reasons, other than COVID, that teachers are quitting. Because they're tired of the bullshit. They're tired of being treated like shit. There's a link to all of this. There is a reason for things happening. It's not just COVID. So, long story short, as we're talking about the behavior and antecedent strategies, okay, which is basically taking the antecedent, which is what? The environment, what's going on, when is it happening, all of those things, okay, and modifying the environment, modifying things that are going on, providing choices of what can happen. You know what I mean? So if it's if the antecedent is, not wanting to do a task, then getting better at kind of that, understanding that trigger and offering choices or giving options, or A or B kind of thing, and trying to strategize a way to motivate the child in order for the behavior not to occur. Okay, so that's a strategy. A strategy is something that you do. An antecedent is something that is just there. The environment, what time is it happening, when, okay, and all of those things. Okay, the strategy is something you're doing so that the behavior doesn't occur. The antecedent is space, outside, a fire alarm, whatever, a student, another student, the teacher, a task, whatever. Okay, so then the teacher starts talking, all right, and bless her heart, she is probably younger than my oldest, who's 26. So she's a brand newbie. Nothing wrong with that. We need new teachers. We need good teachers. But as you all know, the young teachers don't know anything, and they're just learning, and they are, they're just fresh out of the oven. Okay. Which is fine, which is why most teachers have mentors for the first 2 or 3 years, which is great. So then she says, well, because I was talking about the antecedents, okay? And then we're moving on to behaviors. And I said, your antecedents you don't have antecedents. And then your behaviors, you need to spread them out. So a lot of times in a BIP, this is what we argued about for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And I'm teaching them about a freaking BIP. And which is important because this child's main disability or impact of his disability was behavior. So we could not leave it alone. We had to focus on it. It had to be precise and perfection, pretty much, because this child's behavior needed to change and needs to be helped and supported. And, the teacher it was very clear. Nobody knew what a BIP, how to put one together, and nobody knew what to do. And even the director of special education, I got the woman on recording. She had no idea. And when I called her out, she said, well, I'm not an expert. I said, then don't talk. Just sit there. Why are you talking? You don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking about antecedents, and you're talking about something that doesn't even mean an antecedent. Anyway, long story short, the teacher starts talking and says, well, okay, so other behaviors are, spitting. Awesome. Put that down. And then we're talking about the antecedent again, et cetera, et cetera. And, one of the things he does is this is what she says. Okay. This is why I'm leading to the attorney losing her fucking shit. All right. So basically, the teacher continues, and this is what I say, let them talk, keep them talking, keep asking those questions, keep on a subject till you kill it and kill it again and kill it again, like Jason and what's the other one? Freddy Krueger. I mean, just kill it. If it's a subject that is important, talk about it until their heads are spinning. And your head's spinning too. And like bang it out. No joke. And then she spilled. Well, he also spits in electric sockets, and he also, was pouring water in electric sockets. And then she kept going. And I said, come again? What did you just say? These are my words, okay? And I'm having someone actually take that piece out and create a video with the sound for me, because I can't believe it. So, yeah. Yeah. Wow. So I said, what about electric sockets? Oh, he spits at electric sockets. Why? Because he just does that. Mom said, he does spit. So that was one of his behaviors. And then I said, and what do you mean he pours water in electric sockets? Where are you? Well, he pours water in electric sockets, and we keep telling him, not to do it. And so that's when I lost my shit. I said, what? You realize he can die, right? Like, he's pouring water in electric sockets. Like, where the hell are you? So then, here we go. So then the attorney lost her shit. She starts flinging her hands, and she turned beet red, and she said, what the fuck? No joke, y'all. What the fuck? That's because he's too busy beating the shit out of the teachers. Mom and I were like silent. This is exactly what she said. I swear to God, I will play it for you. I mean, she's going on. I did not know what to say. And then I said, how's he beating the shit out of the teachers if he's pouring water in the sockets? Is he pouring water in the sockets, or is he beating the shit out of the teachers? And in my mind, I'm thinking, how dare you say that about this child when the mom is already devastated that this is happening. She is already heartbroken that this is happening. She doesn't want this to happen. We want to make a change. We want things to change. We want things to get better. We are trying to work with you in order for them to get better. But you're going to sit and lose your fucking shit and say that the child's pouring water in electric sockets and not put importance on that, and instead scream and yell and cuss and say that's because he's too busy beating the shit out of them. I mean, he's either beating the shit out of them or he's pouring water in the sockets. Which one is he doing? I mean, you can't do both at the same time. Let's just say, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I couldn't believe it. I mean, how do you let yourself go like that? Do I get loud in IEP meetings? Can I be a bitch? Yeah. But I mean, I get it done, because that's what she said. She's a attacker, and she goes for that jugular, and thank goodness she's met her match. But the thing is you do that to someone else, and that could really be impactful. Me, bring it. So she says her words in her piece. I don't usually pay any mind to it because it's just so petty and ridiculous that an attorney would do that. And it's always a deflection, kind of like the school districts. Let me deflect the fault on you. Let me deflect the fault on you. You can't deflect fault on me because I raised my voice and I asked the right questions, and it pisses you off. I ask strong questions. I ask questions that mean something. I ask questions that many, many people cannot answer, and they should. And I get to the bottom of it. And you guys don't like it. That makes me the evil one. But then after all shit goes crazy, the next meeting's a breeze. It's like this pattern. Everybody loses their shit. It's a big shit show. And then the next meeting's like, hi, how are you? How's everything going? Like today. Okay, how do you want the goals to look, Raven? All right, let's do this. All right, I'm ready. Let's do it. How do you want the goals to look, Raven? Well, this is how I want them to look. And then a lot of times I do defer to the teachers, and hopefully they're ready to collaborate. But you got to prepare and allow the shit show to get the IEP you want. Look at it like this. When you have a 2-year-old, this is how you have to look at it, guys. You have a 2-year-old, you tell them, you give them candy one day, and then the next day you're like, no, you're not getting candy every day. Or you go to the grocery store, and 2-3-year-old, my kids had the terrible 3s, not 2s, but you go to the grocery store, you buy your child some candy when you're checking out. Next time you go to the grocery store, they expect that damn candy. You better get them that candy. They expect it now. Every time you go to the store, you better get some candy. I remember having to break my kids of that. And so what happens? Meltdown, upset, throwing a fit, all those things. If you got an angel baby, I'm so happy for you, but mine weren't. So fits all over the place, right? But then what happens? You go back to and usually my kids would be punished. They would like lose TV for the night or whatever because they were young, little. Or they didn't get the candy and they saw that I was going to be strong with that and not give in. So you have your shit fit, and then it dwindles off every time you go to the grocery store from then on out, right? Same pattern. So if you prepare yourself for that pattern and know that the more questions you ask, all right, I had talked out that subject on the BIP, but I was still talking out that subject because it wasn't clicking. And finally it clicked and we created it semi. But dear God, it took forever. And I had to burn them out. And that's so sad. It really is. But trust me, that's what had to be done. And I've noticed that is a pattern. It's a pattern. Who's going to burn out first? And it sure as hell ain't going to be me. And that's what you got to do. Things aren't working. Things aren't going your way, meaning in the benefit of the child. Hell is happening, and your IEP is not right. Something's not right. Once you start advocating, prepare yourself for World War III, and then it ends. So it's like, start a little nice. Sorry, I should write a timeline. So it's first email and a little nice. It's from me. First email and a little nice. Then some sarcasm and shitty shit. And then you have your first meeting and you're like, they're not sure. You're like weighing each other out. And then you have your evaluations. And then you have Raven challenge them on the evaluations and ask the right questions. And then they're kind of pissed off. And then you come back to another meeting and they're already kind of pissed off because you asked all those questions with the evaluations. So now they're kind of snooty and shitty. So that meeting goes to shit. All right. Then the next meeting could go either way, but they're still in that bad state. And so that meeting could be a shit show and war. And then it goes downhill from there as far as good. That's how it goes. And you just have to prepare yourself for that. And you have to have the stamina. All right. So if you're not fit, get fit. But you got to get IEP fit. All right. We need to have IEP workouts. Hey, Anna, how are you? You got to send me a picture of that baby. And you have to get IEP fit. That's a great t-shirt. I am IEP fit. That's great. I love that. On my membership, I'm going to have all my swag. I'm so late. Nice to see you too. Yeah, Anna was one of my first California cases, and I've kicked ass in California since. And it's interesting because she's like my first newbie. And but California has not been that bad. After I guess they got to know me, it just smooth sailing. But that doesn't mean there's difficulty. There is. And it can take time. But they know I'm not going to let up. And I think most districts know that. And in all seriousness, I believe that is what makes me different than, you have your ARD people and all, I hear the stories. I don't know anything about them, but I've heard the stories. You want an advocate that's going to walk into that meeting or, sign in on that meeting and kick some ass. And that's what you need to learn. And, I tell my parents, get your IEP straight and go learn. Get your IEP straight, get your kid on the right track and go learn. And that's what's going to get all of us on the same page to where they realize that they're not going to get one up on parents anymore. And that's what needs to happen. Change has to happen, and that's going to take not just me. It's got to take everybody coming together. Okay, one person can't do this. 2 people can't do this. 10 people can't do this. It's going to take everybody coming together and wanting to kick some ass. Not kick ass as in, let me beat your ass, okay? Kick some ass as in to win for the child. Okay? That's a t-shirt too, Erin. I kick ass in the IEP meeting. In the back, I win for the child. That's what it's about, is winning for the child. Not winning, I won you, you're stupid, I'm smart. No, we don't do that crap. It's you win for the child. That's the win. All right, that they get a good education, they have a good IEP, they got all of those things, and they're on the right track. And that is what is important, okay? What's not important is, the blame. And I don't play the blame game. If I'm wrong about something, I'll admit it. I don't need you to tell me about it. All right? Just like this attorney. You. Woman, look in the freaking mirror. Go do that. You take care of that, and I'll take care of this. Okay, you take care of that, I'll take care of this, and we'll be great. All right, we do not need to post, you did that, and you did that, and you did that. When does that ever solve anything? Never, zero, never, ever, ever. Doesn't work with my husband for sure. I definitely can't. You did this, and you did that. It's just one ear and not the other. Okay, so blame does not work with anybody. You have to approach things different. My friend, you helped me so much to learn how to get my ass together and learn about IEP, and I'm still learning every day. Yeah, shoot, I learn every day. What are you talking about? Every freaking day. I mean, I have to say I stay entertained, that's for sure. But it is very stressful what I do, and can be very emotional, especially, when you see things that are just heartbreaking, and it makes me want to do better for the kids. And the last thing I'm worried about is their opinion of me. If I was worried about the school district's opinion of me, there's no way I could do my job, ever. I have to look at coming in, getting that child an appropriate IEP, and getting the hell out. All right. Most parents keep me around. Most school districts get used to me. The ones that even hated me with a passion. But you have to get there. You got to fight first and then get there. There's no, let's collaborate from the beginning. That it just doesn't work that way in the beginning. I mean, people are lying to you if they're telling you that, oh, it's just this big collaboration game. It's not like that. It takes time to get to that point. Okay. To where they realize that you ain't bullshitting, that you're not playing, they're not going to get one up on you, that you can't send me 6 different goals and present levels that are the same damn thing and act like they're changed. I'm gonna catch it. Okay. Okay. So another reason, just to let you know, that the attorney flipped out, more than likely, I'm just guessing, is because the teacher, I got her talking, right? She talked about how the child was pouring water in an electric socket. Like it was no big deal. No big deal. No, he was just pouring water in an electric socket. No big deal. Let me keep talking. The kicker on top of that, just keep talking. Not stop there. Just keep talking. Attorney probably flipped out because then I said, how come him pouring water in electric sockets was never on his incident reports when you restrained him 50 million times, and you somehow skipped pouring water in the electric sockets into the incident reports? So do you see, I got people talking, shit came out, and then shit hit the fan. But had that not happened, mom would have never known that her son was putting water in electric sockets. Who knew? Who knew? I'm still shocked about that. Like, yeah. There's been times I've been so mad, guys. I'm going to get off here, but you got your tips. And go back and listen to this so you can get your tips again. But key thing is pay attention to what's being said to you. Don't be afraid of burning a subject out. Okay? Especially if you're seeing that. Hi, Diana. How are you? Especially if you're seeing that the people aren't knowing what they're doing. That something's not right. And then that teacher, I mean, they're probably catching me live. We'll see how the next meeting goes. Because she's still going to talk. Don't think the attorney and everybody's going to tell you to be quiet. But we already got you anyway. So, no, I'm just kidding. Honestly, because of her age and how young she is, I think, actually, I know the maturity level is not there. And even though we need new teachers, but you got to remember, they come out of school at 21, y'all. All right? They're still babies. And they're taking care of our babies. All right? So you got a baby taking care of a baby and teaching our babies and are in charge of their education. So it's a little hiccupy there. And I'm new here from California. Appreciate. Oh, good. Welcome. What part of California? So, and what do young kids do? They talk. One thing that's happening these days, and then I'm going to get off, is texting. All right. So this is what I see a lot of in meetings. When I'm talking to a teacher or somebody, I'm seeing an administrator or attorney. You can't see their phones, but you can see they're texting each other what to say. One thing I've caught is, and I make sure to I'm watching on the screen, is when I'm talking to a teacher, how they're talking to me. So what I've started doing is, can you look at me when you're talking to me? Can you not look at your phone? Can you look at me when I'm talking to you? So I've started doing that because then they're not looking at their phone. And when they're starting to tell me things that they shouldn't be telling me, according to administration and attorneys, then they're texted. And then you'll see their conversation go from telling me a story to all right. And at that point, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm seeing, how that's how I started catching it, is their conversation just totally went like U-turn. And I was like, no, go back to what you were saying. who just texted you, but go back to, I'll say that. I don't know who just texted you. I don't really care. Could have been this person or this person because I saw them both looking down texting, but I don't care what they said. Keep going. Tell the truth. Just when you feel like, they're going to tell you things that are going on. I mean, can you imagine, guys, just finding out in an IEP meeting that your child was pouring water in an electric socket? Never was written out for you on the incident reports. This is a child that was restrained almost every day. Never was mom told about electric sockets. Not once. Not once. Wouldn't you want to know about that? So I have a feeling that because of the behavior piece and that piece is why the attorney lost her ever-loving mind. And that's what happens when people's behavior change and go a certain way when they get good and pissed off. People talk when they're pissed off. People say all kinds of things that they're not thinking that they're saying when they're pissed off. Keep that in mind. Meet criteria teacher kept repeating she was baffled by, and my daughter made her feel like she failed as a teacher. Why? Why did your daughter make her feel like that? Maybe I'm not understanding your question, Miss Welsh. She didn't get approved for IEP. Her test showed she was good, so they decided. Well, I'm not really sure. I don't know what a test has to do with an IEP. Two don't even go together. IEPs don't have nothing to do with grades. All right. So I'm going to go to bed because I got to get this going for tomorrow. This child that has been suspended at 5. What the hell? All right, guys. So I will talk to you soon. My question is, where was the adult during this incident? Oh, that's what I asked. And that's when here's what I figured out. I love puzzles, y'all. So do you see why I love behavior? Because I love figuring out. Bye, Tina. I love figuring out what's going on. And I don't understand why certain people in the educational field don't want to figure out puzzles. And if you're going to work with special ed, you need to be able to figure out puzzles because that's what they are. They're big puzzles of, of pieces that you want to put together, and not autism. Okay. Of things that are going on in their lives and how they're feeling because they're not all verbal or they can't verbalize their feelings. And that's what I mean by puzzle. Okay. And you have to be able to think outside the box, and yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I think that I don't think the only thing I can say about the teacher is I can tell you 100% she doesn't have any ill will or negativity kind of thing. She's young and that is the downfall, but we have to wait that out. You don't get rid of a good teacher or a teacher that could be good, and they just need teaching because they're young. It's the fault of who should be mentoring her and supporting her. Okay. And she has a pair in the room too. I don't know. I don't The only thing I can say, Kim, is I think that, due to the immaturity of her age, that like you and I were like, holy shit, he was pouring water in the freaking electric socket, right? Her brain's not there yet. Meaning, in all due respect for anybody who's listening to this, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but when you're young, sometimes she's not a mother. And so her brain isn't going, oh, that's dangerous. I need, like me, when I, like with my grandson or anybody, and, you're looking at safety, or you're looking at, you're looking, okay, there's no gate on the stairs. Okay. You're already one step ahead of the game, but when you're young, you're not thinking about that stuff. That's why accidents happen, and you learn your lessons, which is why when you get older, you got that, radar. And so that's the only thing I can think of, because I truly don't believe that it was that him doing that was out of malice. But where she is responsible is, one, where were you? Why did you allow it to continue? Because it happened more than once. And then 2, who told you not to tell mom? Because someone told her not to tell mom. Okay? So you guys got to think about the things that you think more than likely, nah, that didn't happen. No. They didn't tell her that. No, she just forgot. Don't lie to yourself. Wake the hell up. Pour some water on your head, cold water, and realize, yeah, that shit just did happen. Okay? This same attorney said to me, why do you always think that, we just always are doing something wrong? Because you are. Okay? Because you see these 6 IEPs, this is from the district. Same shit. Don't tell me the same shit and tell me it's different. Don't send me goals from the year before and goals a year later and tell me it's different. Quit lying. When I said, oh, you said you were going to send me the new present levels the next day. What happened? You didn't. We're at the next IEP meeting several days later. You didn't. Oh, well. And I said, you did it right in front of our face. So what happened? You didn't save? You were just doing it to shut us up and did it in front of our face and then didn't save on the computer? Is that what happened? Why do you always have to think, that we did it, out of malice and blah, blah, blah. I don't remember exactly what she said. I said, because you did. And I said, I'm sorry, but the appearance of the things that you do are what they are. I don't create that situation for you. I mean, why are you asking me that question? Why are you asking me that? Why am I, thinking these things? Well, because you're doing it, damn it. That's why. We went through evaluation, most pointed towards individual education, but education evaluation showed no reason to. I'd have to see it, Miss Welch, because I'd have to see it and talk with you, because I don't know all of that. Yeah, Kim, this is a child that has been restrained a lot. Placement is going to change. Mom and I are all for it, but we don't agree for it to be changed right now. We want to wait to the end of the year, because everything in his life is going to change. He all of a sudden will ride a bus. He'll have different para. He'll have different speech. He'll have different OT. Everything in his world will change. And we don't want to do that this year. We want to let him ride out this year. Things have actually gotten better in the last couple months. And then over the summer, he made the change. Well, they're not in agreement to that. They want him to go right now, but I agree with mom. That was a mom decision with placement. And, I don't chime in with that. I let parents, do you want the placement? What are your thoughts? Do you want to bounce things off of me? But that's a you decision, if you want to know, do they have a right to do that? Can they do that? That's what I come in. But as far as if y'all want it to happen and that sort of thing, I that's a you decision, and I will only chime in when you want to hear my thoughts. But that's it, y'all. It's late here on the East Coast, so I'm gonna go to bed. I don't know why I say that I'm not going to take your time, because I'm looking at the time. So I'm just going to stop saying that. But enjoy your evening for those of you on the East Coast or West Coast. And hopefully I'll be going live tomorrow. If not Friday, it will be tomorrow or Friday. Okay. And we will continue the series on ADHD. I have a lot of good stuff for you. It's not just telling you, oh, this is what ADHD kids do. No, it's good information, solid information that can actually, you either know it or it's going to be new to you that you can actually implement, that sort of thing. So hopefully that's something you can look forward to, and have a blessed and wonderful night. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.